Dave, we haven't had you on since the announcement when, Governor Ron DeSantis stepped out. I think it was right after, what was it? Was it first one or the second one when he said he's stepping away? I don't know if it was Iowa. It was one of them.
He went through Iowa and then stepped out before South Carolina.
Right. Unlike Nikki Haley, who stayed till the very end, which is like, listen, man, nobody's supporting you. He did the right thing. He stepped out and he did what he did.
Yeah.
So where are you now? I'm sure you've talked about a lot on your show, but where are you now with, where Governor DeSantis was, and then obviously today with Trump, Biden being the nominees?
Well, first off, look, DeSantis, I have no regrets supporting him as loudly as I did. I know it had a certain cost for me in MAGA world and all that stuff. That's just politics and that's just media and all that stuff. I have to say, since the day he stepped out, I am thrilled that he is back here in Florida. And I know we're going to cover some of this immigration stuff and what's going on with the Haitians coming here and everything else. And having a governor that is as functional as he is in a state that's as functional as Florida is great. I am very bullish on the state of Florida, and I'm quite frankly, and I would say depressingly so, not that bullish on what's going on in America, because the Democrats and Biden and whoever's really running him have just wrecked so much, and it's particularly what's going on with the borders. So I think DeSantis absolutely would have been the most functional, mature, ready to roll person that could have crossed over more voters and everything else. However, the Trump story, I think you said this to me in my studio, if I'm not mistaken, the Trump story just was not over yet. And once they really went in on the trials, and once they went in on all of the ways that they could get him, they were just pushing him. Now, the conspiracy version of that would be that they're doing it so that he can become the nominee, knowing he's the easiest to beat because he can't necessarily get new voters. They beat him last time, et cetera, et cetera. But 100% I'm voting for Trump, and I think you're completely out of your mind if you vote for Democrats at this point. I mean, they've been exposed at every possible level. That doesn't even sound partisan to me. You got to name me a policy that the Democrats have that is not crazy. So just to end the DeSantis point, it's like he's here in Florida. We got 3 more years of this guy in a very dangerous place that America's in, but this state is doing absolutely everything right. That's why I supported him, and that's why I'm thrilled he's here. So I have no regrets. Yeah, my Mar-a-Lago invites have disappeared. But
first of all,
that's all right. It's only worth $18 million anyway. So your house is worth more than that. I'll go have lunch with you.
Are you saying that Trump is vindictive, and because you pledged support to DeSantis, that all your invitations to Mar-a-Lago have been lost in the mail? Is that
I don't
what
know
you're
if they've
saying?
been lost in the mail. I don't think they're magically But look, I was friends with Junior way before his dad was in politics. We are good to go. I've become friendly with Ivanka and Jared. We are good to go. And I have no doubt that Trump, it's like, you know how it is. One little odd thing about Trump related to DeSantis is he's still going after him, which seems odd. He's still DeSanctimonious just a couple days ago. And it's like, dude, just get over that stuff. Like, I know we can't change Trump, and you can't tell the guy who did the thing that nobody said could be done how to behave. But shave off 5%, man, and you could widen this thing a little bit. But getting him to listen.
But good for you for the position you took. You're a professional. You went to it. Here's where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. Or there's no way I'm supporting it. It's not like you're gonna go do a Lincoln Project thing and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And I can't stand the fact that he's doing this. You're being professional about it. You chose a team. Didn't work out. It is what it is. And to give praise to DeSantis. When I talk to people who are not from Florida, so how's it feel living in Florida? So listen, when you got a guy at the top that his number one priority is taking care of his people who are job creators, who have families, who feel safe, the economy's doing well, you don't have to worry about what's going on here. He's the guy at the top making decisions. You're so good being in a state like this, and he's done a phenomenal job. Some give him an 8 or 9. I don't know if you can give a higher score for what the guy has done. He's done a phenomenal job as a governor.
Look what's happened just in the last couple of days. We had elections here and in Delray Beach, not too far from here, which is a Democrat stronghold that Biden won by 27 points. They now got a Republican mayor. So the Democrat Party has been obliterated, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. And especially with the border stuff, where it's like clearly the feds, it's not that they're not stopping people, they're actually encouraging people to come across. Like, if it gets worse, and I suspect it will get worse as we get closer to election, DeSantis is going to do everything possible to make sure boats from Haiti aren't showing up. And if people are coming in through Georgia, they're going to get kicked out. He's hiring more people. Like, we're going to do everything right. And you can't say that. You can't even say that in the other red states.
Let's go through that since you said it. DeSantis. Flying Haitian migrants to Martha's Vineyard is on the table. Rob, I think you have this video, Rob. If you can Do you have the video of him saying it? Yeah, if you can play this clip, go on and play it.
I'd be willing to help do that. I think that the states really have no other choice to do that at that point. It's a little bit different for a maritime state like us. That's why we really have to get them before they reach the shores, and that's why we're working so hard to do that.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, we do have our transport program also that's going to be operational. So Haitians land in the Florida Keys, their next stop very well may be Martha's Vineyard.
I love
That's
that.
beautiful.
I love that.
I love it.
Your thoughts on that, Dave?
Well, it's beautiful. This is why we all supported the guy. It's largely why all of us moved to the free state of Florida in the first place. It had a lot to do with COVID, but it was also like, oh, there's going to be law and order here. We're going to take care of things properly. And sorry, you can't just show up. You can't just show up on our borders, whether it's by air, land, or sea, and expect to whatever they expect, whether it's to be given things or to have gang violence or whatever. You've got to go. And again, that's why I'm telling you, the day he stepped out, my reaction, for as much as I supported the guy and everything else, my reaction was a bizarre sense of relief because, well, I'd love to know all of your thoughts on this. Like, I think America is seriously messed up right now. I think it's way more messed up than most of us realize, but not all of the states are, particularly Florida. And it's like, if we got 3 years now to strengthen everything here, our border, our policing, do more with infrastructure, the building of the roads that he's doing. You know, like he's moved, I think he told me he had seven 20-year infrastructure projects that they've moved up to be 7-year projects. Like, we're doing it right. We're bringing in new capital. We're bringing all these people here. They're voting the right way. Just look at the results from 2 days ago. So it's just fine. And let Trump do everything he can to fight the real monster, you know?
And for the Democrats, and you will hear liberals talk about the necessary need for the bluing of Texas and the bluing of Florida. You've heard that phrase.
Oh, yeah.
And how does that happen? Well, hey, we all need to move there. Californians move to Texas. They cheer it. They fail to understand which Californians are moving. It's moderates that are not going to be voting dark blue. And now you have, you know, this defeat of the bluing of America. Okay, you want the bluing of America? You want to do it this way? Then tell you what, here's some folks from Martha's Vineyard. You tell me if this is what you want in these United States, because last time I checked, Martha's Vineyard, you're still part of these United States, so here you go. And so you're also hearing the complaints out of Philadelphia, the complaints out of New York, complaints out of Chicago saying, hang on. We thought you were going to throw all these people to Texas and Florida. We're not digging this. And you're hearing mayors and the citizens of those other cities getting upset by it. And we now in Florida have got some really good leadership down here. Suarez in Miami, great Republican mayor that's down here. And we've done the right thing. And I think the hurricane response by DeSantis, I've always felt, was a case study in emergency response for his own citizens and building that bridge to get the water and relief supplies.
I want to ask another question for both of you guys. Okay, and Adam, specifically you as well. Maybe I'll come to you on this one first. So this whole concept with what he did with the partying, right? So where Miami Beach business owners thanks DeSantis for the best spring break ever. You know, Miami Beach restaurant owner Georges Vogiatis complimented Governor DeSantis and the legislature and the city's local government for the best spring break he ever experienced. He expressed his support for their efforts to combat spring break crime and indecency during a press conference the governor held in South Florida. It was the first year that restaurants, hotels didn't have to close down. It was the first year we didn't have to hire private security. We had such nice clients. We had good tourists. Residents stayed here. We had many of our businesses make more money than last year. We had no damages. The years before, people just ran into businesses, taking alcohol, breaking tables, walking out without paying the bills. And this year was the best spring break ever. I think they had 250 arrests. Do you think, as a guy who's a person who probably in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, I don't know, at this point I can only go 40s.
Yesterday.
Yeah, 40. You partied all over Miami. Do you think a part of Miami's identity to be the place to go to spring break, you think this was a good move or a bad move?
Well, I'd like to just say on the public record that if you're in your 20s and you're doing spring break, you know, you're entitled to that. If you're 40s and you're still doing spring break, you're just an old man in the club. So I understand how that goes. But this has been an ongoing.
You would know.
Tom, I saw you in the club doing that dance move. We can roll the tape on that. You have to understand that this has been an ongoing conversation in Miami and Florida. Man, Dave, you know, you left California, and much like many of you, but welcome to Miami. But this has been an ongoing conversation since when? Since the year 2000. Why? Because Fort Lauderdale, even Florida, Pensacola, everything that's going up there in the Panhandle. That was always a spring break destination. Miami was never the spring break destination. It was always the New Year's destination. New Yorkers would invade Miami on New Year's. And I would always grapple with the question. I'm like, you guys are coming down here spending all this money. I'm like, they were doing this like New York double Dutch. They'd come down here, praise Miami, praise Florida, love it. And then they go back to New York. And I would always wonder, like, what are these guys waiting on? I would wonder that for years and years and years. But here's what happened. In 2000, PBD, you'll probably remember this, there used to be a spring break type party in Atlanta called
Freaknik.
Freaknik.
Yeah.
Told you PBD knew it. So Freaknik was...
Great bookstores there. It's a very...
Exactly. PBD, if you want to know anything about PBD, what he was doing in the 1990s, 2000s...
Freaky?
Freaknik. They're Atlanta's most infamous...
It's phenomenal.
So what happened was Atlanta, Georgia, canceled Freaknik. Now, you don't need to Google Freaknik to have an idea of what's going down at Freaknik.
A lot of nicks?
So a lot of nicks. A lot of freak. And what happened was they said, all right... Where's the next best place to get our freak on? They said, let's just take 95 South with the Quad City DJs.
Yeah, I knew you could have been a historian.
Exactly.
He knows the history of this whole thing. Tell us.
And let's head to Miami.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, spring break Freaknik type became a thing in Miami and South Beach. Now, someone that's born and raised in Miami and South Beach, this was all new, meaning the spring break Freaknik crowd. We've always been party culture, nightlife culture, all good. But as someone that lives in Miami Beach, we've seen sort of the degradation of what goes down on Ocean Avenue, Ocean Drive, Collins Avenue, Washington. So this year, Miami officially broke up with spring break. So they elected a new mayor. It used to be Philip Levine. They were talking about it. The new mayor of Miami Beach is like, nah, we're done with this. We all know we're big friends and fans. Francis Suarez, he's not the mayor of Miami Beach. He's the mayor of the city.
Do you think this is
Miami.
a good move or a bad move?
So what's been happening, the bottom line is, it's always the most salacious, crazy things that get the headlines. 90+% of people are having fun, having a good time, spring break, we get it. But it's the 10% of people that are literally fights, shootings, murders. And Miami Beach is like, we don't need this crap. Last point, I went out to dinner the other night. The whole streets are gated off. Gated off, meaning they're preparing for it. We're doing the big event, model volleyball again this year. They had to move the event because the city's like, nah, we're not doing this right now. So I'm not shocked to see some of the...
do you think for the third time, was this a good move as a person from Miami?
Okay.
Do you think it's a good move as a person that's been here all these years?
I thought we wanted the history.
No, I'm asking you because you've lived here. Is this a good move?
I do think this is a good move overall.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of businesses that would say otherwise.
Really?
Meaning,
that's what I want to hear.
Okay, there's a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
So people don't understand. They had to implement a curfew.
Is that last year or this year, by the way?
That's every year.
Last year.
That's my car. That's my car. That's my car. Adam's in the back. That's Adam dancing and making fun of my car. That's my car. Look at that.
So what's going on?
Ruined.
You have to understand, this is a segmented part. This is probably on Ocean Drive. This is crazy. This is the tourist street. Right? There it is.
What are most
That's
these
Wet
people,
Willie's.
What are these people drinking? Because
right there, whatever's in the Wet
Is that
Willie
really
drink.
Miami?
Yes.
That's last year.
Yes.
Jeez.
There was a shooting. There was a murder. This is crazy. But most businesses, bars, restaurants, nightlife, they make a lot of their money on the weekends. What happened is that they implemented a midnight curfew. All the bars, my relationship with Bodega.
Yeah, of course.
Everything had to close. So as a business, as a case study like Tom would do, Bodega, bar I'm associated with, we lost $100,000 of revenue last weekend. So that's a bottom line hit to the bar. But for overall safety, can you put a price on that? So bottom line is they're breaking up with spring break. Small businesses are taking a hit, but in the spirit of not basically being a shit show.
So in other words, you are going to run for office next because you gave did you notice that answer?
Very
He wanted to
professional.
support
Very freaky.
How much are you disappointed that the party life has changed for you in Miami?
As someone that used to attend Freaknik for years, Tom, tell us how it goes.
Actually, I know a little bit about Freaknik, not as an attendee. But I know the history. The history of Freaknik was actually a good thing. There was a group of students that couldn't afford to travel and couldn't afford to go home at spring break because they didn't have the budget. And they're trying to go to school. You have Emory down there. You've got a Georgia State. You have a bunch of schools that are in right there in
UGA,
Atlanta.
Georgia Tech, everything.
Tom, you freak.
G-Tech is there. And so what they did, they created kind of
It's a lot of things people don't know about Tom.
No. It was picnic, celebration, and some
Go ahead, Tom.
and music in the park, so that during the week of spring
He's getting
break,
whiter as he's talking right
Tom,
now.
who's your favorite? Who's your favorite Atlanta rapper?
When have I picked on Dave? What is this?
Tom, just who's your favorite Freaknik Atlanta rapper? Just I know you could rattle them off. Who's your favorite?
I got to go to Ludacris.
Luke.
So
Uncle
but
Luke's
the
Miami.
point was, it started out as a good thing and became a bad thing. It was a good thing where there was music in the park, there was things that was going on during the day and into the evenings, and it started out just as the kids that couldn't get home for spring break stayed in Atlanta and did something, and then it got completely out of control over the years and had to shut it down. That's what's happened to South Florida. I can remember going down, I'll give you a history of Florida, in the mid-'80s, there was a place right there at Las Olas and A1A, Sunrise A1A, there was a strip down there. There was a place called the Button, Penrod's, and the Candy Store. The Candy Store was owned by Los Angeles comedian Flip Wilson, who way back had the Flip Wilson show. He's passed away, God rest his soul. But the spring break, I remember it down there, did not used to be mayhem. It used to be a big party. But then the years go by, it gets out of control, and the cities have to step in.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Because I don't understand what would happen. So you go out, you Freaknik, you bring it down here, you're drinking with your friends, you're partying. But what is the jump from just having a good time to taking a chair and throwing it at someone behind the counter at a yogurt store?
I'll give you the answer.
What is the jump
I'll give you the
there?
answer.
What gets you to do that?
There's three elements.
Yeah.
You're 20.
Yeah.
You're drunk, and social media. Combine that all together, perfect storm for Tom's Freaknik situation.
You guys know that? I'm sorry, Tom. You told me never to say anything. He was actually a pimp in college. He was Gator. He was like, Gator, don't play that shit. That was you, right?
Is it Papi Tomas? Papi
Gator, don't
Tomas.
play that shit, Tom.
No, it's just like,
Who baby is that? Is that shit?
Yeah,
no. It's just
don't
I was in LA by then, and me and the Biatches.
Bitch not gonna play that shit.
So, Dave, is it safe
But
to
let me
say
say
you were
this. Let me
avoiding
say
Miami?
this. You asked
Yes.
the question when you asked the question about why people throw the chairs and stuff. Very basic. Emotions high, intelligence low. Okay.
Yeah.
When you're drinking, your emotions are high, your intelligence are low. You're not making a lot of good decisions. But let's transition into another story.
You've been at parties at my house. I get pretty drunk. I've never thought of picking up a chair and throwing it.
It's your
at the
own
random-
house, though. This is
Your
not their
house,
house.
exactly.
It's your house. You take care of your own place.
You also
That's
only
fair.
drink the finest tequila, Dave. I
he
know
does.
that.
It does.
So these
It
guys
takes
are
the edge.
drinking.
By the way, Dave's a
Henny.
better basketball player when he drinks more.
yeah.
He didn't drink a lot with me, though.
Finger roll.
So
One
anyway,
shot. One shot.
that's all I need.
That was incredible.
And parties at your house are different. No one's going to throw a $1,200 chair with fine Italian leather.
Yeah, what are you, nuts?
It's a little different nowadays, Dave.
Rob,
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party.
Tulsi Gabbard says she is no longer a Democrat.
A potential Tulsi Gabbard VP.
Where we are being told that we just have to comply and go along with whatever they say.
American people are smarter than this. However, we must remain vigilant to recognize their propaganda for what it is, pure lie.
Unfortunately, we live in a time where free speech is under attack.
Whatever they say goes, and we have to just follow.
And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology. Taking on Kamala Harris on a debate stage before, I would look forward to doing that again.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.